There's a smartphone that I bashed. Last year I called it the most disappointing smartphone at all, and I didn't even bother to get its successor, so I'm still using a 2 generations behind phone right now. Everyone is expecting the next generation to come out right now. But can you achieve good video and photo footage with this device? I'm currently filming with this device, and you see how nice my skin looks like, how nice the colors look like. Which kind of device is this? And can this device also work outside in a non-controlled environment where there's sun all around, where there's a bit of HDR, there's a bit of like different colors popping in? Can it be used for vlogging? What do you think about the footage here? Is this the best video footage that you saw? Is it really a smartphone or is it a camera? But let's talk about the results. I want you to take a close look at those shots here. Do you notice what's missing? There's no aggressive AI sharpening here. No neon bright colors that didn't exist in real life. Most phones nowadays try to fix your photo before you even see it. This device just captures what's the truth. Look at how it handles the shadows. It's not trying to force HDR into every single corner. It allows the shadows, the dark areas to be dark, giving these images a cinematic depth that feels almost like film. It's moody, it's rich, it's unlike anything I've seen from the big mainstream brands this or the last year. The micro contrast in these textures is just insane. Whether I'm shooting wide or zooming in, the color science stays perfectly consistent. It feels less like a smartphone and more like a dedicated tool for creators who actually care about their image. But the real test isn't just a sunny day. It's when things get a bit more challenging. Take a look at these next shots. Look at how it handles these highlights. There's no massive flare, no messy light streaks. The shadows remain deep and moody, but if you zoom in, the detail is still there. It's not trying to artificially brighten the world, it's capturing the atmosphere exactly as it was. Inside, under tricky artificial light, the white balance stays remarkably consistent. It captures that warm, cozy glow without making everything look orange or washed out. The dynamic range here is it's breathtaking for a mobile sensor. And then there's macro and close-up capabilities. Look at the fall off in the background, that natural bokeh. It doesn't look like software blur, it feels optical. It's got the creamy professional depth that makes you second guess if it's really coming out of a pocket-sized device. At this point, you're probably guessing, is it a professional mirrorless? Is it the latest flagship everyone is talking about, a mystery device that has not been released? The answer might surprise you. And the device I'm talking about is none other than the Sony Xperia device, in this case the One Mark 6, but the One Mark 7 and One Mark 5 would behave almost identical because they have the main sensor, which is the same, just the ultra-wide angle is a bit different. Even the telesensor is the same. The device in general is a very good device, featuring a true dedicated two-stage shutter button, fast fingerprint reader, a headphone jack that can also be used for microphones, by the way, a fast USB Type-C port, even with a USB output of displays, and we have a hybrid SIM slot here, including micro SD cards. So this is a banger for what you get here. Everything on board, old stuff, new stuff, and the display is also getting pretty bright. Even in this very sunny kind of conditions, you can clearly see everything on the display. And check out how thin the camera bump is. No big ceramic stove, not quadruple or 5 camera lenses, just this one here. Super slim, compact, and easy to use device. Even with one hand, you can reach almost everything here. The trick is simple but effective. All you need to do is get the exposure down a bit on the Xperia device. So you can see it, the exposure level, get it a bit down, and then yeah, you can create dramatic shots with it that look fantastic. And even videos look fantastic and sound fantastic because we have a voice priority mic on the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 6 that really helps picking up the voice. And we have also a surrounding mode, but here it should like filter out a little bit of the background noises because there's a street behind me. How good is HDR, however? This is one of the weak points here. So lowering the exposure is helping a little bit with it, but it's not really the main benefit of getting better HDR. You have different HDR modes like wide HDR that helps a little bit here as well that you can try out. But overall, I have to say about the videos here and the audio quality, I'm quite pleased with the Sony Xperia device, and I hope that the 1 Mark 8, what is it coming out? Yeah, 1 Mark 8 will have an even better main sensor, better telesensor. The ultra-wide angle of the 1 Mark 7 I really like, with the very large kind of sensor that they have there. Good aperture. For vlogging, definitely something that is a little bit better than this ultra-wide angle that I can switch to. And then we come to one negative point for sure, is switching lenses. This is now the ultra-wide angle here. Switching lenses is not the greatest here on this one. It's always a little bit jumpy, always a little bit non-smooth. Even though they tried to do it somehow smooth, it is not really smooth, and this is one of the biggest downsides of this Sony device. So yes, I'm praising it for a few shots and a few videos that I did here, but it's more or less a lot of effort you have to put into it. It's not a point and shoot device. Still, after all this time, even if they improve more and more their automatic modes there, it's still not a point and shoot device, at least if you don't know the tricks. Like here, this video here, point and shoot for sure. Just regulate the exposure a bit down and it's a point and shoot device. And on this highly competitive smartphone market, where besides Samsung and Apple, everyone has it hard to figure out their place in the smartphone realm, it is quite refreshing to see that Sony survived Asus, survived HTC. HTC is more dead than alive, I would say. Survived LG and Meizu and many others that come to my head right now that didn't survive, even though they were praised higher maybe than the Sony Xperia. But Sony for some reason is still making Xperia devices, and I really hope they will keep making devices because they find their niche. They're not the best in image quality. They're not the best in fluidity of zooming in and out. They cannot compete there. But what they are doing is something refreshing in the smartphone market, where more and more algorithms are taking over, beautifying every shot. They try to keep it real. They try to keep it as close as possible to DSLM and DSLRs. There are a few exceptions, of course. Oppo, for example, but also Vivo, trying to bring in this old kind of less processed look that we love because we like natural photos. This is why the trend on TikTok with old point and shoot cameras is becoming bigger and bigger, because people like this imperfection, those shots that are not always picture perfect, where the exposure is not always right, where there's a bit of like clipping, there is not so much dynamic range. Such things are important because they tell a story, they give a photo character. And that's the reason why Xiaomi is collaborating with Leica to create the Leica look, because they don't want a picture perfect look. They want a bit of a charm to their look. They want a bit of aesthetic to their look. Same goes for Vivo with the Zeiss collaboration, the Zeiss natural colors. They want to create a bit of a charm. Or Oppo with the Hasselblad look, and many others are also creating their own look. Huawei is working on creating their own look, even though it is like a bit of, yeah, smartphone-ish, cartoonish kind of look here and there. Apple and Samsung are a bit falling behind because they don't create their own look. Even I think the Google Pixels, even though it is very smartphone-y like, have a distinguished kind of look. But you can tell me down in the comments, what do you think about my thoughts here? What do you think about the Sony Xperia devices? Are you interested in them? Or you think this is the next smartphone company that will simply die out? That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Until the next time. Bye.